You want to apologize?
Okay, now, here we go. We are live and we're on the air and we're starting 49 minutes late because my computer was being a jerk. Okay, so now here's what we're going to do. Okay, I have no idea why my avatar is not showing. Anyway, what I'm doing now is I'm letting admin put the YouTube link.
I just said that before we started.
It's in the side chat.
I said I can't post anything on YouTube.
Why?
My computer is acting up. I told you that you didn't want to listen to it.
Okay, so anyway, he's got to send it to. Okay. All right. We're having some communication problems here. Okay. And so, okay, so now life goes on. Okay. Now let me do this. See if my avatar comes on or not. All right, here we go. I have no idea why certain things are happening in here, but they are, and there's nothing I can do about it. Okay? I'm trying to get my computer to work right, folks. Yeah. Like I said, I'm having some issues here. I have no idea why I'm having issues, but I'm having issues. Okay? Anyway, in addition to having issues, I'm having to do some of admin's job because apparently his computer isn't working. So since his computer, well, okay, his computer isn't working properly. Let me restate this. His computer isn't working properly. Therefore, because his computer isn't working properly, I must try to do what he normally does. Okay? And so, and I don't have a clue how any of that happens. And so I am trying to figure it out the hard way because I didn't get much of a warning on this. As in, I don't do this, and so I don't have a clue. So just bear with me, folks, okay? I'm getting messages here. Let me see here if this is the one that says it's live. So I'm going to come down here. Yeah. I'm not even sure. Folks, give me a moment here before I start this because I am not used to doing this at all. Okay? Not at all. I'm not used to doing this. So I'm having to figure it out. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm trying to do now is find this actual Hangout so that I can put the link out there. Now, when you come in, right in the beginning of it, okay, here we go. I'm going to put a comment here, add a comment. This is the link, the YouTube link. Okay. And that's YouTube. And then, hang on a second, folks. This is the I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to put another one, add a comment. I'm not sure if what I'm doing is correct. So, yeah. I'm trying to, I think that might do it there. Maybe. We'll see. I put 2 comments in the under the Hangout deal on YouTube. I guess admin can go over there and look maybe and see if I put them where they're supposed to be. Okay. If those are where they're supposed to be, I know that Randcam said he was going to be watching. I don't know. I see somebody is watching. I don't know if it's him or not. If it is Rand, come on in. If it's not, and you do try to come in, yeah, the admin will. He's not going to probably let you in until I give him permission, because I'm only going to let people come in here during the first part of this that I know won't give me any trouble as far as trying to get the points that I want to be shown. Okay? So, with that being said, now I'm gonna go ahead and continue. So here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I've kind of got set up. The reason I was late is because about an hour and 10 minutes ago, it was 6:15. My computer likes to do this little thing where it will say to me in not so many kind words. Yeah, I'm trying to get that thing set to where it'll actually see me there. My computer will say to me in not so many kind words, it'll say, hey, I'm going to reboot in 14 minutes and 59, 58, 57, like that. Either do it now or do it then. Or I'll do it then. So I said, hey, you know what? Maybe this thing will go quick. Well, I did, and it wasn't quick about it. It was very late. Then when I went to come in, I lost everything, so I had to basically I had to restart all over again. Okay, so anyway, the deal is, do you know this guy?
I'm looking at it.
Okay. So anyway, my time is now. Okay. Whatever that. What does that mean? Oh, you can't see me. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so here's what I'm going to do in this first part of this. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. Okay. I am going to start by giving some information here. Okay? I'm going to give some information concerning the Vaticanus and the Sinaiticus. Okay? And I'm going to put it on the screen there for everybody. Then I will open it up for people who want to that want to talk about this whole thing. Okay, so I have got to get a computer in the future that doesn't require this. That way I can do it on el Bluetooth. You know what I mean? But I don't have a Bluetooth on my computer. I don't have a Bluetooth on my phone. Here's we go. Let's do a screen share. Okay. We are going to start the screen share. Okay. Facts to consider. That's what this is about. And listen, hey, look at the Codex Vaticanus and the Codex Sinaiticus. Now, folks, listen. If you were to type in on Google, or I guess the proper verbiage in today's vernacular would be, if you were to Google the oldest and best manuscripts, you would come up with these two names right here, the Vaticanus and the Sinaiticus. Okay? Now, these are considered to be the best, the oldest, you know, and that's just the way it is, folks. That's what they're supposed to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a very brief, just a few facts, folks. This is not going to be a lesson on these things, but here's what I was thinking about today. Let's unscreen share here for a minute so that we can yeah, I got to get the right page first, I think. All right. No, maybe that it wasn't it, huh? There we go. You are screen sharing. Please stop. Okay. So, well, let me do this, okay? Let me do this, okay? So, my purpose here of showing this, yeah, okay, of showing this, of having this hangout, is because modern versions, okay, of the Bible are mainly based on these two manuscripts, okay, because they're considered the oldest and the best, okay? You don't hear what I'm about to say, okay? You don't hear what I'm about to say from modern scholarship. They want to say, oh, this is the best. They want to tell you this, that, and the other thing. But they don't tell you what I'm about to tell you, okay? But I want you to think about it, okay? I want you to think about what it is that I'm telling you. So, again, but I wanted to tell you that while you were seeing my face. Okay, so here's what we do. Now we're going to go back to screen share again, okay? Back to screen share. Okay. The Vaticanus is named after its place of conservation in the Vatican Library, where it has been kept since at least the 15th century. Now, why is it worded that way? Why does it say kept since at least the 15th century? Well, the answer to that is found in the next paragraph right below it, okay? You see, scholarship, especially Western scholarship, only learned of the Codex Vaticanus because of Erasmus's correspondence with the prefects of the Vatican Library. So here's what happens. He's communicating with these people over at the Vatican Library. He knows about the Vaticanus. He was, and you hear modern scholarship talk about this, saying that he could have used the Vaticanus, but for some reason he just didn't. And they try to use that as a reason to say, see, that just shows how stupid he was. No, it doesn't show how stupid he was. It shows how smart he was. And I'm hoping that by the time we get done here, that somebody besides me will understand this. Well, I know some other people besides me understand it, obviously. I mean, I'm not in a little goldfish pond all by myself, you know, thinking that there's more fish in the aquarium with me right here. I happen to know that there's a lot of people that believe this and understand this, but it's just something that scholarship doesn't show. So, again, let me just recap here. This Vaticanus, this manuscript, was in the Vatican Library. Now, the real truth is, nobody really knows how long it was there. Well, why doesn't anybody know? Well, because there's a lot of things in that library that they probably don't know what's there unless somebody brings it up and they go in there to look. And then they go, well, we don't know how long it's been here. We just know it's here. And that's the case with the Vaticanus. It was there. People were noticing it, but they weren't using it. I'll get to that in a minute. Okay? Facts. The Catholic Church did not use the Vaticanus even though it was in their possession. The point I was just talking about before I changed the slide. I want you to think about this now, folks. I want you to think about this. According to scholarship, the Codex Vaticanus is dated to the middle of the 4th century, somewhere around that ballpark, the middle of the 4th century. By the way, that is right smack dab in the middle of the Arian controversy. Okay? Now, if you don't understand the Arian controversy was a time when Arius, okay, who was a student of Origen, okay, out of Alexandria, Egypt, who, because of the teachings of Origen, which I'm not going to get into, he believed that, I have to mention this much, he believed that God the Father was superior to God the Son. This led Arius to believe that Christ was a created being, okay, that he was subordinate to the Father. Hence, we do not have Jesus being God. That was what the Arian controversy was all about. Now, with that being said, okay, this dates back to that same time period. There's a very good possibility that much of this manuscript was tainted if it was copied during the Arian controversy, because it could have been actually written by a supporter of the Arian controversy or the Arian supporter, which means it would give reason for much of the verses that pertain to the deity of Christ of why they're not in the Vaticanus. Okay? But that's another subject altogether. The point that I want to bring up is that the Catholic Church did not use the Vaticanus even though it was in their possession. Now, why didn't they? Well, that's the next point, you see. See, the next point says the official Bible of the Catholic Church is Jerome's Latin Vulgate. That would be back during the 380 to 400 AD era. And Jerome had this made up this Vulgate. He comprised this Latin Vulgate. Okay, I won't get into the history of it, but I put it in YouTube, yes. In the comments section. Huh? Okay. Remember the other night I did that and you said it wasn't there? Give me a minute, folks. Okay. Well, evidently that guy got it. Well, he still found it. Okay, anyway. So, let me finish this slide up. The official Bible of the Catholic Church is Jerome's Latin Vulgate. Okay, you can check that out for yourself and see what I'm talking about. The point is, please understand me here, folks. The point is, today's scholarship says that this Vaticanus is one of the best. And by the way, it was given in Greek, so this would be closer to the original than Jerome's Latin Vulgate, okay, according to modern scholarship. Now, here's the point. If it's closer to the original than Jerome's Latin Vulgate, why would the Catholic Church use Jerome's Latin Vulgate when they could have been using this great Vaticanus that was in their possession? Why didn't they use it? Now, there's a possibility, folks, that this has been in the Vatican or in the Catholic presence ever since it was written. And who knows how long that might be. Okay? Now, here's some interesting information. John Wycliffe was his Bible, okay, was rejected by the Roman Catholic Church. It was an direct English translation of the Latin Vulgate. They did not allow for John Wycliffe's Bible to be read by English-speaking people. Okay? They did not want, see the last point, the Catholic Church had no desire for the Bible to be in the hands of laymen? You just check it out, folks. That's why John Wycliffe, a lot of what he said was shot down. That's why his Bible wasn't allowed to be read by anybody. Okay, it was a death penalty to be caught with a John Wycliffe Bible. By if the RCC got a hold of you, it was over. Okay, so here's my point. Here's what I'm trying to get at. All right, the Catholic Church has this great manuscript in its possession, at least great according to textual critics today, and yet they weren't using it. So my question is, if it was that good, why weren't they using it? All right, let's move on. Okay, few points on the Sinaiticus. Okay, the Sinaiticus is named after Mount Sinai. Now, when I say Mount Sinai, I'm not talking about the real Mount Sinai. It is the Mount Sinai that they call Mount Sinai on what we call the Sinai Peninsula. But if you do some biblical research, you'll find out that Moses was in the land of Midian when he went on the mount. Mount Sinai is not in Midian, okay? The Mount Sinai that we talk about in the Sinai Peninsula. So that's another topic altogether, okay? Which I won't even get into right here. But it was found at the St. Catherine's Monastery on Mount Sinai, what we call Mount Sinai, in the 19th century. It was found by, Constantine, I don't know if I spelled that right or not, von Tischendorf. The big thing that you have to remember is the last name Tischendorf, okay, who was visiting the monastery. Now, here's what's funny. He says that the monks had thrown it away. It was in a trash can, and they were literally tearing pages out of it and throwing it into the fire so they could stay warm. Okay? And he's like, "Oh no, stop." And he looks at it and he's like, "Oh, that's the Bible." Well, apparently they didn't think it was too good of a Bible. I mean, you wouldn't catch me tearing my pages of my Bible out that I thought were the Word of God. Okay? So apparently they didn't think it was the Word of God. And these are wait a minute. Monks tearing up the Bible. Monks not, that sounds an awful lot like seminary today. I wonder if this was like the beginning of modern day seminaries. Where monks don't believe the Bible. Most scholars don't believe the Bible. Anyway, we'll move on. Yeah. I know I'm not here to make friends and influence people. I'm here to tell the truth. Okay? Facts. Okay, here we go again. Again, the manuscripts, that's what MSS stands for, by the way. A singular manuscript would be capital M, capital S. Plural is MSS. This manuscript, I wish I should have just put one, the Sinaiticus, was under the care of the Roman Catholic Church, but it was not being used. So the Church of Rome, now think about this, the Church of Rome has under its care the two supposed best manuscripts, okay, the oldest and best manuscripts, in the same language that they were written, the closest to the originals, and yet they weren't using them. So the question is why? Well, I don't know. It's a good question. This monastery, like the Vatican, used Jerome's Latin Vulgate as its official Bible. That's because it's Roman Catholic, and that's what they were using, okay? So now it's time for you to think, okay? As I go into this next slide, put on your thinking cap, okay? Put on your thinking cap. Here we go. Are you ready? What Bible or manuscripts did those who were not affiliated with the Roman Catholic Church use? You see, folks, I don't know if anybody out there has thought about this or not, but the Catholic Church wasn't the only church. It wasn't the only quote-unquote Christian church on planet Earth. Oh, no. You see, throughout the empire, to the east and to the south of where Rome was, is the whole area where Paul had gone on his missionary journeys, okay, and planted churches. They, not all those people, were under the influence of Rome. They were not affiliated with Rome. Okay? So that's question one. Question two. Why would God not allow the oldest and best manuscripts to go, why would he not allow them to be used? I wasn't thinking when I did this. I did like a double negative here. Anyway, why would God not allow the oldest and best manuscripts to be used, I should have put, by any Christians? So I didn't, by mistake, I did a double negative there, okay? Why would he not have these manuscripts used by any Christians until after the production of the King James Bible, which was based on, you see, you got to remember something, folks. The King James Bible, the first edition, was printed in 1611, okay? Hampton Court, where they talked about making the King James, was 1604. Took them 7 years to do it. And then, from 1611 to 1769, it went through 4 editions. In other words, they were going back in there, printing errors. They changed fonts and all this kind of stuff. Not the text, hardly at all. You know, oh yeah, there was a few words that they had to fix, you know. But when I say fix, I mean to get it to where what the original that they were supposed to get it. They made all kind of like typos and stuff. But they didn't base it on these manuscripts, folks. The Vaticanus and the Sinaiticus. Why not? Well, because one was on Mount Sinai, and the other was in the Vatican. And you see, they weren't even available to the public. So we know that the King James wasn't based on those manuscripts. So what did people use up until the 19th century when these manuscripts came available? Because remember, the King James came out in the 17th century. That would be the 1600s. Yes, the same manuscripts and Bibles used by the saints who had been living in the very area where the Apostle Paul had founded Christian churches. Oh, so in other words, these people had been making copies of the original epistles. They had been making copies for themselves, okay? And by this time, it had turned into thousands of copies, not of whole Bibles, but, you know, some big, some little, which I'm not going to get all into tonight. But the idea that I want you to think about tonight is that for 1,700 years, okay, while the Vaticanus and the Sinaiticus were out of sight, one in the Vatican and two at Mount Sinai, Vaticanus in Vatican, the Sinaiticus at Sinai, at St. Catherine's Monastery, there were these other Bibles right there. Look there at the bottom. The Byzantine manuscripts, because that was known as the Byzantine Empire. That's why these are called the Byzantine text type manuscripts. The old Itala, it was a Latin, okay, not to be confused with Jerome's Latin Vulgate, and the Syriac Peshitta, all from the Byzantine Empire. These were all, okay, these all were being used, but they weren't affiliated with the Roman Catholic Church. And these are the Bibles, okay, that God used. Look at this. In other words, God used the Byzantine manuscripts, okay, and Bibles to serve his people up to and through the Reformation. While the Vaticanus was hidden, while the Sinaiticus was hidden, God's word was still all over the empire. People were still getting saved. People were strong in their faith. And God was using these Byzantine manuscripts to get the job done. And that's what he used, not only through the Reformation, but that's what the King James is based on. And then along comes textual criticism in the late 1700s and into the 1800s. And then they make up these rules. And they say, hey, they find the Vaticanus and they find the Sinaiticus and they say, oh, look at these two great manuscripts. Wow. I mean, this is what we need to base the Bible on. Well, wait a minute. Hey. Let's make some new Bibles. What's wrong with the ones they've been using for the last 1,700 years? What's wrong with the textual basis that they've been... Here's my question, folks. God has been using something that's been getting people saved for 1,700 years. Along comes textual criticism and says, hey, you know what? We need a whole new Greek representation than God has used up to this point. So we're going to take these manuscripts, which very well could have been made during the Arian controversy. Maybe that's why they're missing some of these verses, like 1 John 5:7. Okay? Maybe that's why they have a lack of the blood and other things that aren't in the King James, or that are in the King James that aren't in modern versions. Is there something, am I the only one to see something wrong with this picture, that up until the King James they were using one set of manuscripts or one type of manuscript, and all of a sudden when textual criticism comes along they say, hey, you know what? We're going to change this now. Now we're gonna bring in a new kind. Okay? We're not gonna base the Bible. We're not gonna base the Bible on what it's been based on up to this point. Oh no. We're gonna take these manuscripts that have been tucked away in two libraries, one at a monastery on Mount Sinai, one at the Vatican, which were the very churches that had the possession of them. They didn't even use them. But we're going to say they're the greatest thing that ever hit planet Earth. We're going to stop using what God has used for 1,700 years, and Shazam, we're going to make some new Bibles. Because, see, the one we got's no good. I don't get it, folks. I don't get it. All right. Now, I've got to do some technical issues here. I got to make sure that the link is out there, because somebody did come in here that was a troll, I think. And, all right. I got a little comment over here. Maybe somebody's telling me, hey, +1 to rules. Yeah. No cursing. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I agree, dude. That's why we have the rules. Okay? Because I don't like that kind of junk. Plain and simple. All right. Now, yeah. Here is. All right. Well, that explains why G-Man ain't in here. He's got his own hangout going on. Okay? But that's okay. Did you know that? Yeah, he's got his own hangout right here. All right. So now, here we go. Here we go. I have the link. By the way, folks, let me refresh this page. Okay. 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 I'm on Google Plus. It's on Google Plus. The link is on Google Plus. Now I'm going to go to YouTube. Okay. I'm not exactly sure where I'm supposed to go on YouTube to find this. Where do I go on YouTube to find this? Okay. Whoa. Okay. I just went to YouTube. Go to the Hangout. Well, that means I got to go to Google Plus. Okay, I'm lost. I don't know what you're talking. Okay, let's go to the Google Hangout. I'm in my Hangout right now. Yep. Clicked it. Yep. Uh-huh. Hang on. Copy that. Copying. Yeah, I'm doing technical stuff, folks. Cause you know what? I am terrible at this. Paste. Shazam. Hey, guess what? I think it's here. Uh-huh. Yeah. It says no comments. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm putting these links in here, folks. I don't know what I just did, but I think I lost everything.
It says no comment.
Okay. Hang on here. Copy. You. Hang on here. I have no idea where I'm at. That's the funny part.
I don't know what I just did, but I think I lost everything. Okay. Hang on here.
Okay, I want you to look again and tell me if it's there. I think it's there. Okay? Folks, I'm going to tell you something. When it comes to this kind of thing, I am not.
I have no idea where I'm at. That's the funny part.
I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer when it comes to technical stuff like this. Okay? So, admin is checking to see if I have made my first, what's the word I want to use? If I have made my first technical, I got to get rid of some of this stuff that's going on in the background, because I can hear myself twice.
I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer when it comes to technical stuff like this. Okay? So, admin is checking to see if I have made my first, what's the word I want to use? If I've made my,
I think I just, is it there? Huh? Well, check again, because I could have sworn I just copied it everywhere. Refresh the page. Hang on, I gotta look at his screen.
Down here. See it?
You sure you're in the right one? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try this one more time, folks. Please bear with me. I'm gonna try this one more time. Okay? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. I am like really lost here. Okay? So I gotta come over here to the links. He said to do it like this. I gotta copy this one first, and then I gotta come up here and I gotta paste it. And then I go there. Now what that will do is that will give me this page right here.
so I gotta come over here to the links.
I see it right here. It's here twice. It says right there. Look, come over here and look at my screen. Okay. Anyway. All right. It's there, folks. The links are out there. If you want to find out about this, you're more than welcome to. It's there. The links are out there. Okay. And because I just checked, I copied the link. I went right to the to YouTube, and it said it's on both. So we can find out. Here's the whole thing I'm trying to do with this video. Okay, to be honest with you. Today, modern versions are based on these two manuscripts. These are the main two manuscripts. If you read up on the Vaticanus, if you read up on the Sinaiticus, you will find out what scholars say about these two manuscripts. You will find out that they're just all over it. They're like, oh yeah, these are super great. Okay? The problem is that I have to ask is, if they're so good, why did God have them tucked away for 1700 years and nobody was using them? Why was God having, not allowing, but why was God having for 1700 years prior to these being found, why was God using the text known as the Byzantine text, or the majority text? Why was God having all these churches throughout the Byzantine Empire using these manuscripts, as in the Byzantine text, and not using the Vaticanus and not using the Sinaiticus? Why wasn't God using them? Does God know something that scholarship doesn't? Or does scholarship know something God doesn't know? That's a good question for you to think about. You see, here's the problem, folks. Okay? Here's the problem. Because when they're found, all of a sudden, in the middle of textual criticism blooming, okay, with guys like Westcott and Hort, who subscribed to they subscribed to Darwinism, okay, evolution. They didn't like God's creation account, so they said, oh, Darwin's got a good idea. These guys said, oh, well, these other manuscripts are so much better than what this King James was based on. It's so much better than what all the Reformation Bibles were based on. It's so much better than all the manuscripts that have been used for 1700 years. Now, let me cover something while we're at it, okay? Just for the record, okay? Why are, and I've said this before, so this is nothing new, why, okay, are the manuscripts of the Byzantine text, they say, well, they're late manuscripts, they're younger manuscripts. They don't date back as far as the Vaticanus and the Sinaiticus. Oh, here goes this same illustration all over again. Okay, here we go. In case you haven't seen it the first few times. Okay, here's what I have. You know what I don't see laying right here? It must be in the back seat of the car. My church Bible. Could you get my church Bible that looks like this one? Please. Now, this, okay, right here. Here we go. This Bible right here, okay, has been in this box, out of print, okay. Let me get some to where you can actually see it. This is out of print, okay. Get some of the glare off of it. It's out of print. They don't make them anymore. Somebody gave me this one as a present. They knew I was looking for one, okay. This is the one that's been in the box. This ain't been in the box for a while, okay. This one right here is the one that I take to church. This is the one that I teach out of. This is the one I've been preaching out of for a couple of years, okay. I have back in my study a few that I've used that wore out, that I used before I had this one. This is about the third one of these that I've owned. They just all got wore out. Okay? Now, here's the deal. When you use a Bible, you wear it out. Okay? I don't know if you've ever wore out a Bible or not, but I've worn out a few over the years. I've been studying the Bible for 30 plus years, and I've done my share of wearing out a few Bibles in the process. As you can take notice, these pages on the end, they're not shiny like these. You see that shine? Look at that. When you turn it like that, the camera, it reflects the light. If I take mine like this and I do this, ain't no shine there. You know what I mean? It's just it's white. It's white, but it ain't shiny like that. I mean, that's woo. I can blind myself with that. Okay? Listen. The reason this one looks brand new, and the reason this one looks so old, is because this one's been used. One has been in a box. These could be the exact same age, but because this one's used and this one's not, this one looks new and this one doesn't. Now, hang on a second here. One of my sons are texting me. Okay, so here's the deal. This Bible, I got my first Bible like this when I was in Bible college. My first Bible like this, okay? The early days of Bible college. I got my first Bible like this, okay? And then I went to some other Bibles because I couldn't find them after that. And I replaced them. Now, if I would have put the year here in the front of my Bible, if I would have written a year right here in the front of my Bible that I started using the Bible, then if you go by that date, you would say, like this Bible, I started using this Bible about, 2.5 years ago or so, okay? 3 tops. So this is 2015. I might have written 2012, just for a round number. I would have said 2012 and wrote on here 2012. Now what's funny is that this Bible here is actually older, because this has been in a box for probably 10 years. See, this Bible is actually old too. It just wasn't used. It used to look like this. But here's what happens, folks. These manuscripts that appear to be newer, okay, or younger, the reason they say the paper isn't as old is because they had to keep replacing them because they were wore out. Now here's the thing. If this gets to the point where I completely can't use it, then I switch to this one. And this appears to be new. Here's the thing, folks. This could be as old as this. It just doesn't get used. You see, the reason, now, they say that the paper in the Sinaiticus is older, and the ink is older, and the type is older. Okay? But especially what it's on. They're dating what it's on, and they're dating the ink. Well, it was never used. It sat on a library shelf, just like this. Okay? But they're going by the ink. If you tested the ink in this Bible, you would find out it's the exact same age as this one. But the reason this one is, if you test it, you say, well, it's the same age. Yeah, but it's not been used. That's why it's lasted as long as it has. You know what? This one, and the one in Bible college were all made at the same time. But I've worn out 2 or 3 of these kind of Bibles already. Now, here's what I'm trying to tell you. They were all the same age. But because I wore them out, I had to take them and lay them down somewhere and then use the next one. I got to answer this here because I think he's asking me what time I'm going to be somewhere. Okay. Hang on a minute, folks. Sorry about this. Just got to answer it. Plans for tomorrow. Things happen. You know what I mean? All right. Hopefully he won't text me back anymore. Now, I say that and the next thing you know. Okay. So here's the deal. Let me just cut to the punchline. Okay? Let me just cut to the punchline. The Vaticanus and the Sinaiticus, okay, I'm not going to argue with the fact of how old they are, okay? I'm not going to argue with the fact that they're dating from the time of the Arian controversy. I'm not going to argue that, okay? There's very good legitimacy to that. But here's what I'm trying to tell you. The only reason that the Byzantine text appears to be newer, and therefore they say further than the original, is because it's just a later copy of what was written earlier. Folks, as long as the copying was done correctly, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Was the copying done correctly? Now, I'm going to address something, okay? The people, Westcott and Hort, why did they choose the Vaticanus and the Sinaiticus? Well, I don't think they had proper theology. And when you don't have proper theology, you don't have proper philosophy. You don't have the proper love of knowledge. When it's concerning biblical, it would be biblical theology or biblical philosophy, or in other words, a love for biblical knowledge. When you don't have the right understanding of what the Scripture says, then you don't love the Bible for what it is. And people today are more concerned, okay, about, oh, well, this is, you know, we need to have all these different Bibles. No, you don't. All you need to do is have one accurate Bible. That's all you need to have, one accurate Bible. And I believe God gave us that. He gave us that in Hebrew. He preserved it. He preserved it in the Greek. And then in the 1600s, he had some men put together the Bible for English-speaking people. And I believe it's right here. We don't need all these other versions, folks. It's just that plain. It's just that simple. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of things. But here's the one thing I do. The one question I have for all of you out there that are going to ever see this video. Why didn't God use those 2 manuscripts for 1700 years? Why did God choose to use the manuscripts that were from the area that Paul went through and planted all these churches in Asia Minor? Why was God using a certain set of Bibles for 1700 years? A certain set of manuscripts for 1700 years that got the job done, went through all them battles. And it wasn't until the introduction of textual criticism that all of a sudden all those manuscripts weren't any good anymore. Now we're going to pull up some manuscripts that came out of Egypt. That's why they're called the Alexandrian type manuscripts. All of a sudden, we're going to start using a different kind of manuscript to base our Bible upon. Something God hasn't used for 1700 years, and presto, all of a sudden the scholars say That's the ones we need to use. We need to use the ones that haven't been used for 1,700 years. Have you ever heard of the statement, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Guess what? Bible ain't broke, folks. It don't need to be fixed. But that's exactly what modern scholarship is telling us. They're saying it's broke and it needs to be fixed. The problem is we got a bunch of sinful men trying to fix a book that doesn't need to be fixed. And they tell us we're never going to get it right, but we're going to do our best to get it as close to being perfect as we can possibly do. As a matter of fact, I have an article that states that they are within 100 words of having the original perfect, or back to the original. Then I have a question for you. If they're within 100 words, if they're within 100 words of having the original, then why don't they just get, you see Benny's trying to come in? Hey, how you doing, Benny? I'm doing fine. Then here's the deal that I have for you, okay? Here's the question I have for you. If they're within 100 words of getting the Bible perfect, why don't they get all the greatest scholars? Yeah, I'm here. Well, he left the group. You didn't say nothing to him, or you, huh?
I didn't say nothing to him.
Well, you should have. He was trying to talk to you.
Well, you were talking to him.
Okay.
He said,
Okay.
hey,
He said, are you guys there?
yeah, and then we went out.
Okay. You guys there? And he left. Okay. Anyway. So, anyway. Point is, they're within 100 words of getting everything just perfect. Okay? Why don't they just get all these great minds together and figure them last 100 words out? You got an answer? I can answer it for you. You know what the answer is? The answer is they'd be without a job. They'd be without a job if they did it. And then there'd be no more money. Even a man I disagree with on the subject of textual criticism agrees. James White. If you go on YouTube and you type in where I think Steve Anderson interviews James White, there's a point in that interview where Steve Anderson is talking to Dr. James White and talks to him about all these versions of the Bible. Okay? James White does not support the NIV. Okay? But he does this number. He says, this is the motivation for so many versions. This is what he's doing right here, just like this. So before you judge me of making this statement, even my opponents make this statement. There's money to be made in making new Bibles. I recently was at a Bible bookstore, and I think it was mother and daughter walking through there, and they were looking at Bibles. And one of them said Woman's Bible, or Mother's Bible, I think, or something like that. And she said, wow, we get our own Bible now. Yeah, they got the Carpenter's Bible, the Mechanic's Bible, the Woodsman's Bible. They got the Doctor's Bible. They got the Plumber's Bible. What else can I think of? They got the Bible for everything. They got the Dentist's Bible. Yeah. They got Bibles for everybody. Really. I'm serious, folks. Whatever happened to just the Bible? Whatever happened to just the Bible? We got good news for modern man. We got the Bible in modern English. We got, oh, by the way, every one of these Bibles has their own copyright. Yeah. But they're all the Bible. Dr. Mickey Carter wrote a book, years ago. Dr. Mickey Carter from Landmark Baptist College down in Haines City, Florida. He's the president of the school down there. He wrote a book by the name of things that are different are not the same. I have said this before. Let me reach down here. Yeah, I keep it right here. 4 Bibles in one. It's a parallel. Okay? All the way over here is the King James. Here's the Amplified. Here's the New American Standard. Here's the New International. Now, you want to know what's funny? This one, and this one, and this one are all different from each other. This one is different from this one, and this one is different from this one. This one is also different from this one. That means they all have to be different from each other. And yet, they all say they're the Word of God. How can you have 4 books that say they're the same be different? I have in my garage right over there on that side, the other side of that wall where my fireplace is, I have 2 motorcycles and a car in there. Okay? Out front, I have a 3/4 ton pickup. Okay? Now, here's what's funny. The manufacturer makes manuals for all of those vehicles. Okay? They're not all necessarily mine, but they're there. Here's the deal. Okay? Those vehicles have like a Chilton's manual. If I look up a torque, it has to be right. If I look up a spec, it has to be right. If it's not, I can destroy the engine. Did you know that if I got a book that said something was different on it, to put it on a different way, and it breaks it, then it's not right? In other words, if those 2 documents have to be the same to both be right. One can't say one thing and one saying something else. One of them's got to be right and one of them's got to be wrong. We would do that to a nursing manual. We would do that to whatever. When it comes to specific ways of getting things done, there has to be certain things done a certain way. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so my son shared the link. I thought I did it, but yeah. So anyway, the point is, here's what I'm getting at. Why is it that with cars, with something else, they have to be the same, or one of them's wrong when it comes to technicalities? When it comes to the Bible, you can have 100 different versions, and then people say they're all right. You know why they're different? Because one is based on the Byzantine text, and the other ones are all based on something else. And that's why we have a problem. That's why when you go to church and you open up a Bible, if you go to my church, we only have one kind of Bible in the pew. That's it. Yeah. I've gone into a church, and I'm not joking, not far from my home. I've gone into a church, and I went into a Bible study where just about everybody there had a different Bible. And you're reading along, and you're going, huh? And you're thinking, that's not what mine says. And he's reading. And you can't even hardly keep up because his is different. And you're like, I wonder where he's at. And because you kind of see where he's going, and he's saying something different. Then you kind of see it, and then it's different. You know what that's called? Confusion. You know what my Bible says? My Bible says God is not the author of confusion. Now, I've been rambling on here for about an hour. Okay? And I've had one guy try to come in okay? One guy's tried to come in, and I think he was just a troll. And then Benny did come in, and for some reason or other, he either couldn't hear us or whatever the case may be. I'm not quite sure what happened there. But, so here's the deal. I have a viewer. Not sure if you want to come in or not. Ask a question, make a comment, whatever the case may be. I'll give you a few minutes because I know my son just shared the link out there with everybody. So, and I don't know if that's been a problem with people trying to get in here and they can't find the link or what. But anyway, here's the whole deal. Once again, I'll give you a summary of everything. Again, one more time. 1700 years, God used a particular type of manuscript to reach his people and to teach his people. And all of a sudden, 1700 years later, textual critics come along and say, we can't use this anymore. We got a better set of manuscripts. And they go into two Catholic establishments and they bring out these two manuscripts that have been sitting on the shelf, not even being used by the people that are keeping them, and say, these are what we need to make all Bibles out of from now on. And they start doing it. And people start buying them. And don't have a clue what they're getting. Plain and simple. The scholars say, well, these are the best ones. Really? Maybe we should find out what those scholars believe. Oh, some people already have. I've gone back and I've looked at what Origen believed over there in Alexandria, Egypt. I've looked and seen what Arian believed. I've looked and seen what Hort believed. I've looked and seen what Westcott believed. I've looked and seen what Semler believed. I've looked and seen what Griesbach believed. I've looked and seen, okay, what many of these other ones have seen or believed. I've looked and seen what Metzger believed. And guess what? I'm glad they didn't write my Bible. Folks, this Bible was based on the same text that they were using since the days of Christ. This is the Reader's Digest Bible. Chief editor, Bruce Metzger, leading textual critic of the 20th century. Okay? Right there. Okay? Right there. There it is. Okay? Look it up. This is based on manuscripts that were in storage for 1700 years. This was in use since the days of Christ. These manuscripts sat on a shelf for 1700 years. Which Bible, which manuscripts do you think we should be using? That's the question of the hour. Folks, this has been another edition of Ambassadors for Christ Ministries. I hope that you think about what's been said here tonight. I hope this stirs a little bit of thought of why we're basing Bibles today on manuscripts that sat dormant for 1700 years. Why we're still making King James Bibles, don't get me wrong. But why do scholars say that a manuscript that wasn't used for 1700 years is better than the one that was used that entire time? Is beyond me. Check it out, folks. Check out the information, and we'll see you next time on Teacher of the Bible, Jack Coons, in the next edition of Ambassadors for Christ. Amen. See you next time.